Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to give you the pros and cons about being an accountant. After my last video of like a day in the life of an accountant and blogger, I got a lot of questions about being an accountant, and a lot of you out there are already accountants, so that's good to hear. A lot of people actually still had questions about being an accountant because they're either majoring in accounting or was interested in majoring in accounting in college, or you were interested in going out and looking for an accounting job. So I decided to go ahead and answer all of your questions, give you the pros and cons, my thoughts, the gist, all of that. So if you don't know what accounting is or what accountants do, the bottom line is organize the financial data, making sure that it is representing the company financially properly in their financial statements. If you don't know what financial statements are, you can Google it, but there are financial statements that public companies have in order to show their position in the market and their stance as a company, show their profits, losses, any revenue, all of that, where it comes from. You can see all of that in their financial statements. Accountants are basically gathering all of that data in so many different departments, putting it together, making sure it's proper, making sure everything is timely, and making sure that financial statement is showing the correct stance for the company. That is just the gist of it. I mean, it's an overall gist. I'm sure accountants are like, girl, we do a lot more than that. But overall, yeah, it's just the gist of what we do. So a little bit of background. I'm an accountant, as you know, and I do YouTube and blogging, Instagram, all of that on the side. I have been an accountant. It will be 7 years on December 13th. And I have my master's in accounting. I do not have a CPA because I don't want one. But we can get into that later as well. But yeah, I have my master's in accounting. I got my bachelor's from Sam Houston State University and got my master's from Prairie View A&M University, all here in Texas. I wanted to be an accountant when I was little because I was good at numbers. Just because you're good at numbers has nothing to do with accounting, and we'll get into that as well. So I want to go ahead and give you guys all of the pros that I listed as, you know, for being an accountant. Then I'll give you the cons. Then I'll give you some just background information and answer your questions. Bring out my handsy-zanzy notepad. The first pro I had was financial stability. That is one thing that I really appreciate about my job, is that it really supports me financially. Like, it is, you know, really good. Accountants make good money, and you know, you even start out making a decent living as, like, think of it, you graduate at what, 22, 23 average, you know, an average college student graduates with their bachelor's at maybe 22, and just think you're going in making like over 40,000 at the time. So, you know, I think that's pretty good as far as salary is concerned. You going in, you don't really have a whole budget thing together, and you're making a decent living. But that's to start. Like, that's a starting, no experience accountant salary. I think another pro is job availability, especially here in Texas. We have plenty of available jobs as accountant. I got recruiters hit me up now like, hey, are you interested in that? No, I still get offered plenty of jobs even at my current job. So it's very easy to get a job here, especially down south, especially in Texas. And right now I'm a senior accountant, and so you can go way past that. Like, there's levels beyond that. Another pro is it is not necessary for you to have your CPA license in order to become an accountant and make decent money. I've talked to one of my really good friends, and I think she had at the time had her CPA for like 2 or 3 years. And she was like, girl, it's a piece of paper. It honestly does nothing. You can literally walk in and say that you can get paid more money than what they were going to offer. But if you're a good negotiator, then you don't have to have that piece of paper or the 2 years of, you know, studying and actually going to the test and taking a very difficult test in order to get more pay. So it's a lot of experience based. You don't have to have the CPA in order to be a proficient accountant. The next pro is that there are many areas in accounting. There's not just one specific thing you can do in accounting. You have a tax accountant, you have receivables, payroll, payables, you have FX accountant or foreign exchange, let's see, funding, cash accountant, treasury, all of these different things that accountants can actually be accounting. There's so many different positions, so if you don't like one area, you can kind of maneuver in the other areas and see which one best fits you. That's another pro that I feel is very good, especially if you're at a big company when they have all those different departments. You can maneuver around in that and still stay within the company, but have the various different types of training and experience. Another pro I feel is knowing accounting, and then the back end of everything that accountants do is a great tool for entrepreneurship. If you ever plan on owning your own business later in life, I feel like accountants, the knowledge that they know are great staples in order to build a business, a profitable business at that. So I think even if you're interested in to kind of get it a little bit, but you know this is not going to be something you want to do for your entire life, I think it's still great to get into accounting because you learn so much on the back end of running a business, making sure it's properly stated, how to do revenue, budgeting, and all of that. You can learn a lot of that in different areas in accounting and go on to fund and create and mold your own company. Another pro is I personally feel that it's easy to move up the corporate ladder in accounting because there are so many different areas, and I think especially when you can tap into the different departments of like tax and FX and all of that, you have all of that under your belt. It's very easy for you to go for a lead or supervisor or managerial position because of the different areas and different experience that you may have. So I think it's really easy to move up the corporate ladder by the time you're 30, especially if you start off in accounting from the time that you graduate. It's very simple, especially if you're going from big business to big business. I think it's very good to have that, and it'll be very easy to move up. Some big companies offer the CPA and tuition reimbursement. I think that's another great thing of accounting, and I don't think it's just an accounting thing, but it's just like a corporate thing in general. If you go to a big company and you decide to go to get your master's, which is what I did, after I got my accounting job, I went and got my master's, and the company that I worked at the time was offering tuition reimbursement. And they also offered some type of reimbursement plan for your CPA. So if you want to do those things, you have the option of getting reimbursed money. You don't have to pay out of pocket. So another pro for accounting, I would say, is you can get a job anywhere. Like if you you can get a job, if you're an accountant, you have so many years or whatever, you can go to marketing if you want. If you accountant, you can go to sales. From accounting, you can go to the FBI. You can go to so many different places, like with an accounting degree or accounting experience, because accounting is everywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's so easy to find a place at a company with accounting because that is embedded in every business. They have to, if every business is a business, that means it makes money some type of way, which means in some type of way they're going to need an accountant, or accountants. So yes, I think there's a place for you everywhere for accounting, and you could just do anything with accounting degree or accounting experience. I honestly feel like the doors are open. It's just infinite-ish to where you can go and what you can do. Now let's go on to the cons, honey. The biggest con, or one of the biggest cons for me, are the blackout travel dates. And because accountants are working we work on 1 month the next month. So for instance, in November, in the first week of November, we're closing out the books for October. All of the business transactions, money that has been moved and everything, we account for through journal entries or whatever it is that we need to do to make sure the financials are properly stated for October. All of that happens in the first week of November, which means November, that first week, is a hectic week. Like, it's heavy as far as transaction based, work, man hours, and all of that. So it's pretty much blackout dates for that first week, meaning you can't call in, you can't travel the first week of every month, stuff like that, because it's like all hands on deck most of the time, especially if you're at a company where they're pretty much running it to the rim with how many people they can have in order to do the functions that need to be done by the end of the year. By that I mean they may be short-staffed and they don't plan on hiring anybody else. So that is a big thing. yeah, it's some dates, that, and then year end. Year end is pretty much you're going over all of the months for the entire year. You're closing out December, but at the same time, you're looking at a scope of everything from January to December to make sure everything is properly stated for the year-end financials that will be coming out. That happens in January. January is a nice, fresh month. You know, it's a new year, you ready. But in accounting, there's no traveling in January because year-end close is like month-end close times 2. So it's extremely hectic. All hands on deck. I can't request any time off during then. I can't expect to be able to go travel or anything like that. Now, most of the time, most people don't because it's right after Christmas and it is not as heavy travel dates because people are trying to re-up their money from Christmas and the holidays. But if you're somebody like me and you like to travel when it's not extremely hectic, then January and February are perfect months for that. So that's a no in accounting. You can't do that. So unless you're at a company, like I said, where you have more hands, then so you can somebody can help you while you're gone. Another thing is on those hectic blackout dates, this is another con, is you're most likely going to work late. And it depends on what kind of company you're at. That depends on how late you stay. The first company I was at for accounting, honey, I stayed till 6:30, and I remember being like, oh my God, why? Now, I was originally supposed to get off at 4:30, and then I would stay till 6:30, and I'm like, oh, I hate working late. I remember complaining about that. But then I leave from that company and go to a smaller, non-public company, and honey, I had no reason to complain at the last company because I would be scheduled to get off of work at 5:30. That would be my 8 hours, but I wouldn't be able to leave until 9 or 10 o'clock. So I'd be working like 4 or 5 hours over, depending on, and then that's several days in a row. So that's annoying. It finally got better at the job that I am now. I don't have to stay that late, but that is going to happen during those blackout times that you're most likely going to be working late. I don't have to work weekends, thank God, but in January I will have to work weekend based on how the holiday fell and how I am taking my time off. So we're going to have to work one Saturday, but one Saturday a year, that's fine. But outside of that, I really don't have to work weekends. Another con, which really isn't a heavy con, depending on how you handle it, is it can kind of take a little bit longer to find your very first position because, you know, accounting is such a big thing in college. A lot of people actually, at least at my school, actually go for accounting degrees, come out, and all are rushing around the same companies trying to be placed into the same entry-level positions. So it's kind of like highly competitive. But one thing I will say, if you network your butt off, you won't have no problem. If you know somebody in accounting already, it will be so easy to get into a job. Like I had a family friend that was in accounting who kind of helped pass along my resume for an entry-level position at my first job, and I ended up getting the position. So it just kind of helps, like, you get in front of the people a lot more if you know somebody there. So I would work on that. And if you have any friends that might have already gotten jobs in accounting firms or any other firms as an accounting, then talk to them and say, hey girl, is your job hiring? Or hey guy, is your job hiring or anything like that? Then give them your resume if they are, and then that's an easy foot in the door. So honestly, that is easy. As long as you network, keep in contact with the professors, keep in contact with your friends from your classes, and keep in contact with family members. Just network and see if anybody is hiring, and they'll put your foot in the door for you in order to get that first position. It wasn't hard for me. I think it took me seriously looking maybe 2 months before I got my first accounting job, and that's me seriously applying and putting my foot out there. And the only reason why it took that long is because I waited till like a month and a half before I actually called the person that was in accounting and then put my resume in her hands so that she could give it to somebody else. So if I would have done that, it would have literally took me 2 weeks to get the job. So yeah, but yeah, do that, and it can happen a lot faster when you network. Another con, at least for me, is that accounting is not creative. It's not a creative job. You know, you're dealing with a lot of numbers and analytics, and it's not something where you're going in and creating videos, or you're going in and you're doing other things that can help feed that creative side of your mind. So at the same time, if you're like me, if you're like both analytical and creative, then you will need an outlet at some point. You will need to be able to create at home, maybe do some DIYs, or be a part of a club or something, or do a little side business to help feed the creative side of your brain so that you can still be getting juices flowing everywhere and you feel fulfilled in life. So yeah, I think it's a con, but it is something that you can fix. Another con is if you do decide to go get your CPA, honey, that is a hard test, which is why, one of the reasons why I'm not doing it. Accounting is good for me to help feed my business and help feed the lifestyle that I want to live, but I don't care enough about the world of accounting or like the job enough in itself for me to go and get a CPA. No, it can take 2 to 3 years of your life just studying, and I mean studying every day of your life, every time you have free time, just studying. And so it takes forever. Sometimes it can take people 2 years, sometimes it'll take people 1.5 years. But you have to have, I think, 150 credits before you go to get your CPA. I feel like if you went and got your master's degree, you have 150 credits, that's fine. And so you can be eligible for a CPA. I did not have to have a CPA to get any of the jobs I had. So your girl is not ever getting a CPA, and I don't think I ever will. So I don't feel the need to. So yeah, if you do decide to, it is very extremely hard to pass, but it is possible. Don't make you think it's not possible. It is very possible. It's just extremely hard and time consuming. And honestly, another con is you may regret your job choice at some point. Accounting isn't all that simple, so it may be some points where it just gets so difficult or overwhelming that you be like, oh my God, I can't believe I majored in this. Expected. Like if you decide to go into accounting, that's something that is going to happen at some point in your career. You're going to second guess why the heck you decided to go to school for accounting. But I do think that having an accounting degree and having experience as an accountant is worth it. You just will regret it at some point. Another con is that it is very mentally draining because you're basically doing analytics for 8 hours of the day, 4 to 5 days out of the week, and it is mentally draining, and you're doing a lot of problem solving. So it's just high level thinking all day, every day. And unless you at our company that have like its high points and its downtime, which most companies do, you will be mentally drained. And hopefully you get with a company that knows how to actually show their employees that they are appreciated and have a great employee company build up relationship. Then you may not be as mentally drained if there's a great work-life balance. But again, it depends on the company, and it depends on the task that you do, depends on your job description. A lot of the time it can be mentally draining. I'm not gonna lie to you, it can. The last con is that it's a desk job, and that's a good thing at some point because you're not staying on your feet all day. But like I do run into the bus driver booty syndrome where you have like that box booty. So I would definitely say work out, walk, or something that help, during lunch or afterwards, or something that can kind of help you get your body moving and, limbs working and stuff. I would definitely say stretch every day because it gets old sitting in a desk for 7 years or plus, however long you decide to be in accounting. But for me, almost 7 years sitting in a desk for 8 hours of the day, and sometimes 10 hours out of the day, sometimes 12, 13, 15 hours out of the day because of, but it's just the booty. I gotta get the booty back right, you know what I'm saying? It'll get there. So here are some just tips in working in corporate and about accounting in general. Accounting is heavy in analytics. So if you feel that you're good in math, that's just one half of accounting. Actually being able to take A plus B and equals C. That's just one half of it. But a lot of accounting is problem solving, and it's heavy in analytics, which is basically numerical problem solving. And you have to be able to know where to look. You have to be able to know what software to use. You have to be able to know where to go in the software. You have to be able to know how to maneuver numbers to make it easy for you to help solve this problem in Excel. You know, if you decide to create tables and pivot tables and VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, ifs, and all of that, it's heavy in analytics. So if you are an analytical person, you find yourself asking questions all the time, you find yourself Googling a lot of things because you're just very inquisitive, I think this is a really good job for you, because if you will actually ask the question, okay, why does this look like this and what happened last month as to why our numbers are different this month? What was the difference that made it so much higher this month or something? You know, you will actually ask those questions naturally and go and search the correct places. You know, you'll keep those things in mind a lot easier. Versus me, I'm not a inquisitive person. I don't think I am, at least. Unless I'm interested in it, I don't care. So it's hard for me to be analytical, but I am really good at math. So like I said, it's only half the problem. It's only half of the puzzle of being an accountant. So yeah, that's just one thing to know. Another thing I would suggest, and I thought of this after watching another video, is that if you do decide to major in accounting in college, I would definitely have a non-business field minor. And what I mean is, if you decide to do accounting as your major, as your minor, I would do communications or psychology, or you know, something else that would get you knowledge in another field so you can be more well-rounded. Accounting teaches you so much about the back end financially. If you know other things, you will be more marketable in the job field out there in the job search. Also, when you get ready to start your own business, if that's something that you want, those things can kind of help you put things together. You know, I would have definitely wished that my minor was marketing, because I feel like marketing is just so powerful to know nowadays, and I'm so interested in marketing more than I am in accounting. I would have honestly flipped it, been a marketing major and an accounting minor. But you know, I think that is just, it's business related, but it also is something that helps in other businesses as well. Another great thing to know about accounting and being in corporate in general is moving to different departments, especially in accounting, helps you grow your income faster. So for instance, I worked at my first job. I went in, I don't feel comfortable saying what I get paid now, but it's not too far from 6 figures, but it's not there either. But I will say that when I did get into accounting, I started at $45,100, I think is what it was. After my research, when I started my job, I thought that I was only going to be able to get in at $38,000 salary, but I was blessed to find a position that paid me $45,100. It took me 3 years to get to 60K, and that was a while ago. That was like 2.5 years ago. So it took me 3 years to get to that. I don't think it should have taken that long, but the main reason why is because of some functional things that was going on at my company. They weren't giving pay raises and any of that at a certain time. So for like 2.5 to 3 years, I was really underpaid for what I was doing work-wise. I was being overworked, severely underpaid. So they gave me 60K in order to keep me. I stayed there for two months. No, I think I stayed there for 4 to 5 months and then left. And it's like, no, I'm done. So yes, if you move to different departments, for instance, if you start off in reconciliations at 45K, then you can eventually go to tax and ask them for 55, and then go to, you know, it'll be easier, go to treasury and then ask them for 65. And you know, it's easier for you to get the amount of money that you want when you go to a new position. So for instance, if you want to make $80,000 and they start you off making $70,000, then it's going to take you a lot longer to get to $80,000 versus you staying at the position at $70,000 and moving to another position and asking for 80. Because when you're at your current position, they're only going to increase you based on a percentage. They're not going to increase you based on a dollar amount. So you may get a 2 to 4% raise at your current position, but at a new company or a new position at a different department within your same company, they will come up with an actual number that will help you get to the actual number you're looking for as far as income, versus you staying there and just waiting to get a raise and a raise and a raise until you get to a certain income. So move around a little bit more within different departments if you're at a huge company, or go to different companies if you're at smaller ones, and get more of what you want pay wise there. It's a lot quick. You'll get there a lot quicker to, you know, your desired salary. One thing to know about accounting, you have your private companies and you have your public companies, and that's in any position, honestly. But when it comes to accounting, I would rather go work for someone that is public versus a company that is private. And I'm gonna tell you why. I work for a private company now. Their books are, their processes are a lot more manual, and meaning that the systems that they have built in aren't doing the work for us as much as they can, because they don't have as much of the budget as a big company does. And a public company most likely will be, you know, have more of a budget in order to do what it is that can make your job a lot easier. So a lot of the analytical things that we have to do are more manual than what I would have to do at a public company. And that's what makes my job a lot more mentally draining, is because I'm physically doing everything that we had systems built to do at my previous company. First company I worked with was a public company. Seamless. Like, if I needed to find out what was different from other, I didn't have to go and like make all of these pivot tables and do all of this in Excel and make it. We had a system built for that, for me to go and do analytics within a certain system. At a private company, it's a smaller company. They don't have the money in order to create those systems and structures that allow us to do our job a lot easier. So, you know, we have to physically, manually do a lot of that. And the hands available to do that are a lot less than what was available at a public company. So if you want a better work-life balance and more mental peace, I would say work for a public company versus a private. Another thing to note, that accounting is a corporate job, which means you have to look a certain way, you have to be corporate, you have to wear your work attire instead of your long nails or your shorts, guys, or tennis shoes, guys and women. You know, certain hairstyles you may not be able to do, certain hair colors rather, not necessarily hairstyles, but more hair color you can't do, and you just have to be manicured, you have to look good. Another thing I love about corporate is that you can have the option of getting a 980 schedule. 980 schedule means you are working 4 days one week and 5 days the next week. And every day that you work, you're working 10 hours, you're working a 9-hour shift versus an 8-hour shift, so that you're off every other Friday. That's a 980. I love that. I had that at my first company. It was a public services firm, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. This company that I have, it's not that. It's an 8-hour shift. I work Monday through Friday, 8 hours. The other one, it's just, you can get so much done and you can save so much PTO because you have every other Friday off, and you can do whatever it is you need to do on those Fridays off. And then you have your actual weekend to be yourself and chill with your family instead of having to handle everything on the weekends, or take time off your PTO and use your PTO in order to get something done during the week. And then there's code switching. Y'all know what that means. Those are the things that I would suggest and that I wanted to tell you guys about accounting. Someone asked, do I love my job? I like the stability that my job provides. I do not like accounting. And I learned that, I think my second year in accounting, and the reason that I've kept doing it is because accounting has been feeding my lifestyle and it has been feeding my side business. And I've only had this business for 3 years. So I'm just now starting to turn a profit. That's what happens when you start a business. You don't turn a profit from day one. You actually have to build for a while before you turn a profit. And so accounting has been feeding that. I'm going to answer a few of your questions, just a few. Someone asked, how did you find the motivation to get through school as an accounting major? There are some subjects in accounting that are more difficult than others. I would definitely say that. But the best thing for you to do is, one, bother the heck out of your professors. Usually when you get your syllabus, they have their hours on there. if you don't know what to do on certain things, or what they explain in class, you're not understanding it, go to their office. Take the time to go to their office and get that one-on-one free tutoring that they offer you, because that's basically what they're saying. Come to visit me if you have any problems during these hours. That's basically what they're saying. So go to their office and talk to them about some things that you're having problems on. See if they can articulate it and teach it to you in a different way that helps you grasp it. And then that's one thing I would do. Definitely, if that's not an option for you, which it should be. If not, you can get another professor. But if that's not an option, see if your school has free tutoring. Mine did. SAB. Sam Houston had free tutoring in different areas. So basically they had like grad students to give free tutoring for extra credit or something like that. And then those students, you know, sat with you one-on-one to give you the tutoring. It's the same thing as going to your professor, honestly. So I would definitely do that. And group sessions. If you are not able to kind of figure some things out on your own, or you feel like you've been struggling, see if they're having any group study sessions in your class. Just like kind of ask around and see if anybody is in any group study sessions. And in those study sessions, if you're not able to understand something, somebody around you will help you understand it. I've had to do that in a couple classes, and I think it's the best thing. We all got like A's in the class, so definitely try out those 3 options, and you should at least find some help in the areas that you're having problems with. As far as how much work, girl, I can't help you there. That's accounting. I can't help you there because it's a lot. Like, you know, there's a lot of work involved as far as school is concerned. But yeah, group sessions can help with that too, because some people can do a portion, other people can do another portion of the assignment, and then you all kind of collaborate on the things that you did not do, but offer the things that you did do. I've done that before. It's not cheating if it's a group. Another question is the CPA worth getting? I talked about that before. I don't think you have to have it in order to have a great career in accounting. Like I said, I'm not too far. I'm not like right up on 100,000, but I'm not like too far from it. So yeah. And I don't have a CPA, and I haven't had any problems getting a position not having a CPA. So I have told them that I am CPA eligible. That I am, because I have 150 credits. So I can take the CPA if I wanted to. I'm just not going to. Strategic talking and saying what you want to say is definitely going to help you get the job. Someone said tips for finding a good paying job as a colored woman in the field of accounting after college. Black women are all up and through accounting. I can tell you that now, at least at every company I've worked at, and the companies that I've seen and parties and networked with, like, we're all up and through. So it's no problem. I don't know where you live though. I guess that's a thing. I live here in Texas, and you know, racism is everywhere. But I live here in Texas, and I haven't heard of a black woman having a hard time finding a job as an accountant, because we are very educated, and we are it's pretty easy. I would say it's pretty easy. I think this is coming from someone that hasn't gotten out there yet, so she's kind of nervous based on what you see on TV. But yeah, I don't see a problem with you being a black woman finding an accounting job at all. The work life, she said, how to balance work and life. I can't specifically say, other than I don't allow them to work me unless it's outside of close. When it's outside of close, I don't work late, regardless of what they have going on. That's a thing I am very communicated about, that I don't work late after close, or outside of close or anything like that. And I do not take my work home unless it's a day that I need to work from home and I don't have PTO available or anything like that. I just don't work from home unless it's something that I need to be at home for, and I can still get work done. But I do not allow them to offer me working from home in order to get something done. I don't do that. And I've been very upfront when I got my job that I do not want to have any late nights outside of close. That is very important to me. So, you know, I would be very open and upfront with what your expectations are, but I don't think this person has had their first accounting job yet. So kind of go through your accounting jobs and then you kind of know what you want. Like you'll eventually know, okay, this is something I don't want, this is something I don't want. And then you'll be more upfront with what you do want when you get into your accounting job interviews. So yeah, comes with experience. Someone asked, what do you do in a day? Girl, I don't have that kind of time in this video. I do a lot of journal entries. I will say that, especially at this company that I am now, because it's smaller and they don't have a lot of systems to do the stuff for us. But I do a lot of journal entries and a lot of analytics, figuring out why things are different, like reconciling accounts to make sure that the balance is good up to a certain point. That's all I can actually get into right now. She said, do you like accounting? No. I don't, but it is very stable, and if you're interested in it, I think it's a nice a job to have in order to kind of get your foot somewhere else. Okay, so yeah, those are pretty much all of the rest of the questions that have come up. I've kind of already explained, but yeah, like I said, I think accounting is worth it. Those are the pros and cons that are great to know about accounting before you major in it or before you go out and find your first accounting job. So yes, definitely let me know if you like this video. If you have any more questions, dip down into the comments and I will be sure to answer those for you. But I hope I gave you guys a little bit more insight into accounting after what I talked about. So yeah, let me know how you like it and if anything else tickles your fancy. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.